welcome. Tell me where you're joining us from so that I can welcome you. Welcome on YouTube, welcome on Instagram. I can see Tepo. Tell me which university, which campus you're joining us from. Tell me which country. I know that my friends from Ghana, Uganda, Nairobi, Namibia. Naomi in Namibia, I hope you're joining us again today. My friends in Dublin, I hope you're joining us today. And of course, leadership from campuses. Andile Maduo from UFS, looking out for Andile and Tebogo Mabusela from Limpopo, deployed in Cape Town. Makatini, I can see you. Ati, oh wow, Ati and Rene, Aviwe, my girl from Vets. Aviwe, I can see you today in ZTC from Mpumalanga. Thank you for joining us. Let me see who's on YouTube. Tell me who you are and where you're joining us from so that I can welcome you properly. I see people are not telling us their campuses, but some of you I can see. I know which campus you're coming from. University of Limpopo has got a new Vice Chancellor. Congratulations to the qualifying Vice Chancellor whose CV is better than yours truly. Congratulations on the job and all the best. ZTC from Nelspruit, White River. Thank you very much for the affirmation. As always, Fulu from National University of Lesotho. Welcome. Talking about National University of Lesotho, I'm looking forward to seeing students from Baisago University in Botswana, University of Botswana, as well as the Botswana University of Science and Technology. Vuyo from Vets is on the line. Buitikanelo University in Botswana. I look forward to seeing you. Pume from Mangosuthu University in KZN. Call your friends. We're talking about prompt engineering today. Of course, we'll teach you about what it is. We'll give you the lowdown on what it is. But here's the thing. Call your cousins and nephews and nieces, because this is also an emerging career. There are people who are hired in companies whose job is just that, prompt engineering. So you may want to join them so that they learn better. Dr. Zamu Mabizela, welcome. It's good to see you from DUT. And Penintani, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Moya, thank you. Moya Habo from Limpopo. Thank you very much for joining me. Sean, thank you for joining us. Mokhalani, call your friends. Call your friends. As you know, I will not start with the session until the room is full. We've got too many empty spaces. We've got to get up to 100 at least when we walk, we look between the two rooms. Fifi, also a UCT alumni, currently at NWU. We don't know which NWU, Mahikeng or Potchefstroom. Tell us which one, which campus are you coming from? Tumi, welcome. Andres is on YouTube, joining us from Kimberley, Salt Lake University. Finally, we have someone from Salt Lake University. Finally. Andres, thank you so much. I don't think you've announced yourself before, Andres. So thank you very much for announcing yourself. Itumeleng, Deputy Mother here on duty. It's a Sunday and we are educating, we are growing, we're learning. And the idea on this platform on Sundays is to make sure that we win. We are here to win. We make sure that we win. Nothing should ever get you down and you never stand up. Anything that happens on this platform, we are here to say to you, whether it's a new innovation, whether it's a challenge at work, whether it's a challenge in life, you stand up, you dust yourself, you move forward. We give you the lowdown on how you do that. And so that's why we meet. We are currently talking about AI. And so we've been talking to different people, educating us about AI. Pride from Vets, thank you very much for joining me. I remember interacting with you at the Bapedi Renabile Society the other year. Thank you very much for reminding me of that wonderful occasion. Refilwe Tobela. I'm seeing people are coming in. Call your friends from every campus, every city, because you just never know how your careers, what turn your career takes. And this may be the session where the penny drops and you realize that you can actually pivot or actually build something from what we're talking about today. And as I said today, we're talking about prompt engineering. Mudiba, thank you so much for joining us. Let's see on YouTube. Mojapi, look from UJ. UJ always joins us, and it's always a pleasure to have you, UJ. Thank you very much for joining us, Sulufelo Mojapelu. Call the entire UJ to join us because we are here. I'm looking at the numbers. Stelis, Tabang Robert is on YouTube. Welcome, Tabang. It's a pleasure to have you. Nonhle, thank you for joining us, Mudiba. Andile Maduo from UFS. Andile, where's the rest of your residents? They must be here. They must be here. All right? You just never know what happens, what this session inspires in you. Naomi, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for the affirmation that I look fabulous. What can I do? Some people don't like the fact that I look this way, but hey, I mean, what can I do? I've accepted it. This is how I was born. What do I do? I can only enhance it, right? That's what you do, okay? And then accept that some people will like it, some people will not like it. So thank you so much, Naomi, for the affirmation. I really appreciate it. Stelis in the house, UJ in the house, NMU, so Plucky. Let's see who else is in the room. Of course, Vets is in the house. Dr. Yvonne Tekla, my friend from Botswana, Baisaho University, thank you very much for joining us. Ushona from Stellenbosch, thank you for joining us. Bonso, thank you for joining us. Okay, the room is almost full. It's another 2 minutes. At 5:05, we are starting. So tell them we are about to start. Spread the word, Andile, spread the word. You know, on this platform, we don't talk about AI as something to be scared of. We talk about AI as something to embrace. It is here. You cannot wish it away. It is here. So what we're doing here is to teach you how to work with it, how to leverage it, how to draw from it to get better at what you do. Complaining about it won't make anything better for you. But what we can do is to say to you, there are opportunities that come with it. You must remember that generative AI is not the first innovation. In fact, AI has been there forever, right? But innovations have been there for many years, okay? Even when the scientific calculator came on board, there were people who were stressed, who said, what are the children going to learn at school? Because now they realize that children don't have to memorize multiplication tables anymore. Something that we used to have to memorize multiplication tables up to 12 times 12. And now people were saying our children are going to be stupid. But they were not. Here they are, leading us in AI. Okay, so every innovation. Then the graphic calculator came, and people complained that now we can't ask students at school to draw graphs as a test question because they can press the calculator and the graph will pop up. And so there was a concern about what does it mean to teach mathematics in a class where children can just press the button and things happen. All right, so every innovation has got naysayers, have got people who say, no, it is not supposed to be, the past is better, and so on. And as time goes on, we get better. Last week, Ati reminded us of a time when we all had bank books. We had a book. Some of you don't know, we had a book. Every time you want to withdraw cash, you took a book to the bank, they wrote in the book, and they wrote how much money is left, and then you went away. Now today, it sounds crazy that we're even talking about bank books. I mean, cards are becoming irrelevant because now we can just use the phone, right? And people were saying, well, what are we going to do? What are the tellers going to do? And Ati last week gave us strategies on what are the smart moves that you can make when these innovations come in. All right? Now, innovations will keep coming in. Now we have generative AI. And the question is, how do you use it? Last week we said, what are the smart moves that you make to make sure that you don't become irrelevant or you don't get replaced? Because you don't have to be replaced. It's not here to take your job. It is here to make you perform better. Prince, thank you very much for joining me from Deep Kloof Extension Phase 3. You always join, and I really appreciate it that Soweto is on board. I can see people on YouTube. Sis Teresa, amazing woman, has joined us. Thank you very much for joining me. Gaynor, Gaynor Panther, copy editor here. Thank you very much, Gaynor, for joining us again today. And Palesa is complaining about the sound on YouTube. I guess I'm gonna have to speak louder. Can people comment more on YouTube if you can hear me, whether I need to go louder? Next week, I'll make sure that I have a microphone to make sure that all of you can hear me, okay? Because clearly there's something that's happening on my YouTube that's making it difficult for you to hear me. Let me see. We're using which microphone? Yeah, I'm using the microphone. Please tell me the sound is good. Okay, Mapula says the sound is good. But don't worry, Palesa, I'll keep speaking louder to make sure that you get me. Now, let's get on with the show. We've got now 100 people in the room. Dineo, I can see you. Thank you so much for joining me. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, our Minister of Higher Education said she's joining us today. She's a sister. She's doing all she can, and I really, really appreciate her support. Minister, thank you very much for joining us. If you're in the room and I didn't notice, I appreciate your support, not only the work that you do in higher education, but the fact that you have shown that as a woman in this country, you can achieve the highest. You've worked hard, we've watched you just as a young person growing, and now you're leading us in higher education. I personally am comfortable to be under your leadership. I recognize your humanity and the fact that you try your best. And I know as a woman, it doesn't matter how hard you try, it is never good enough. But I want you to know that we support you and we see you. And we know you, we know your track record. And so we know where you're coming from. And we'll continue to work with you to make sure that good education in our higher education institutions continue to thrive. I'm going to call Kanye onto the screen so that we can engage. I'm so delighted to be talking to Kanye today. Everyone on Facebook, I can see you. Thank you very much for confirming that the sound is good. I really appreciate it. Let's see, Kanye. Kanye is not there yet, so I'm gonna try to call her in. Her Instagram. She's got a very nice Instagram name. It's Pretty Lady. There she is. There she is. I got her. All right, Kanye, I've sent you an invitation to join me on stage, a Pretty Lady. Kanye, of course, is a doctoral student at Wits. She's doing a PhD in quantum AI. Kanye, thank you so much for joining me. Beautiful. It's so good to have you. It's so good to have you with me on the screen. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me.
Good to be here and excited to talk about this topic.
Fantastic. Let me introduce you properly. I mean, I love talking to young women like yourself because you actually indicate to other young women that it is possible. Not only did you study mathematics, you also went into AI and you're doing your PhD in quantum AI. And so whilst today I'll just be talking about, I want you to teach us about prompt engineering. I also want to highlight the fact that you are an inspiration, you are a light, you are a good story for all our children and our children's children who are told that women like yourself can't do it, especially if they know how to do makeup. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes people think that if you studied mathematics, then you don't know how to do your hair, makeup, whatever. You must be a little bit sleepy. It's like you can't be smart, cool, and looking good as well, and so on. It is insane. So we love talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but in August, I'm going to be focusing on women in AI, just to show people, to give you all an opportunity to tell your stories of how you got to AI, and to give a strong message that it is possible, and other people know how the journey works. But today, you are going to teach us about prompt engineering, and I want you, just as a start, how would you explain prompt engineering to a 10-year-old?
Oh, thank you. That's such an interesting question. I'll try and, keep it at that level. So, I would say to my 10-year-olds that they should actually imagine themselves having this super smart robot friend who wants to essentially help them with anything, be it homework, be it musical lyrics, creating content, as well as giving life advice, just to mention a few things. But here's the catch for that. It only understands if you ask it just right? So prompt engineering is more like learning a special way to ask this robot friend for things. So it's as if you say, like, I'm hungry, the robot might say, actually, that's very interesting. But if you say, I'd like a hot pepperoni pizza with a cheese stuffed crust delivered in 30 minutes, you actually specify to the robot exactly what it is that you need. You need to be specific. It's essentially like finding the magic words that actually help this robot friend understand exactly what it is that you need and you want.
Wow, that's very helpful, actually. So just saying I want some lunch is not helpful. So I must actually specify what it is that's useful. Okay, so
Yeah, so if you just say you want lunch, you might just end up getting broccoli with cabbage.
and maybe I don't even like cabbage.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. So basically, prompt engineering is how you ask for help, how you ask your AI tool for help.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now,
That's it.
people often say, well, these AI models sometimes hallucinate. You ask them for something, and then they give you something ridiculous that doesn't exist. Maybe an animal with 5 heads or 16
Okay.
eyes or stuff like that. Is it as a result of what I ask it, or does it get confused sometimes?
Okay, so the reason that it would do that is because the AI systems actually do not understand facts that the way that we humans do understand facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
They only are built to predict the words that come next based on the patterns that they've actually learned from the data that they've been trained with. So sometimes when an AI needs to fill gaps in its knowledge, or the prompt pushes it into uncertain territories that it doesn't know and it's unfamiliar with, it generates content that sounds so plausible, but it's so inaccurate. So AI does more of a pattern completion rather than retrieving facts from a database. So it's like a really smart friend who says something in a very confident voice and in a very confident manner.
Okay.
And I think, to bring it back to life, there's one infamous real world example that actually happened around 2023, where a lawyer actually used ChatGPT to prepare a legal brief and cited 6 completely fabricated court cases. So these included fake citations. And as a matter of fact, the judge actually fined the lawyer and his firm for this. So stating that they had the duty to verify the AI's output. So sometimes these models actually generate responses that do sound plausible, but are ultimately false or misleading. And at the end of the day, it's actually our responsibility to do the fact-checking, making sure that we're using AI responsibly, and yeah.
That's interesting, Kanye, because what you are saying then is that actually the fear that people have that AI is going to take their jobs is unfounded, because AI is not a human being. So they don't, AI doesn't always understand the facts, and that's why it can hallucinate. So to an extent that it might not even understand that and this animal has got only one head. So it will confidently give you something that's not it. So I mean, it's a comforting fact to know and that's why we have entitled this session AI plus human capacity, just to give the message also that AI, generative AI, as we know it today, actually needs a human being.
Definitely.
Can you let me recognize a few people that I see on YouTube? I see Professor Nodoba from UCT has joined us here. I see Naomi from Namibia always joining us is here. It's always good to see people who are joining us online. Please remember, you can ask your question. Just write your question in the comments. I'm looking at them. And of course, as you know, if you have something to add that's useful, you can enrich our discussion. I'll get you online to join me and Kanye in this conversation. But I also saw that Gabriel Konayuma from Lusaka is also joining us here. Thank you, Zambia, my lovely place. Thank you for seeing a lot of Botswana in the room. That's also wonderful. So feel free to write your questions and we will respond to them and get you on board if there's something that's important for us. So bottom line is that artificial intelligence is not a human being. So it really cannot do what you can do. Human beings do not hallucinate as much as they do. But then what framework can I use then as a person who uses these AI models? What framework can I use to design effective prompts to make sure that it doesn't hallucinate, it gives me helpful information that I need? Also, by the way, Kanye, I wanted to save my time. I don't want to spend time asking it, refining my question over and over and over again. So what framework can I use?
Okay, so I think for this one, we would need to adopt something that is called the CLEAR framework. So it's actually a framework that is built on something called the chain of thought prompting.
Okay.
That was developed by some of the researchers at Google Brain. So CLEAR essentially stands for, the C stands for context. Mm-hmm. So you need to give the AI relevant background information on what you need. Uh-huh. The L will stand for language. So you need to specify the tone, the style, as well as the vocabulary level. And then you need to give it examples as well. That's what the E stands for. So you need to show examples of what good output actually looks like. And then the A would stand for audience. So you need to tell the AI who will be reading or using this output. And then the R will be for requirements. So you need to set the clear parameters. And what I mean by that is that you need to set the actual length, the format, as well as some of the elements to include or exclude. So essentially this demonstrates quite significant improvements in complex reasoning tasks. And also you need to keep the length quite short as well. Try and not go over 200 words at a time. Okay. And also don't use technical jargon as well, so that you don't confuse the AI as well.
Okay, let's go through it again. So we use the CLEAR framework. Yes. C is for context, and we'll go through that. L is for language. E is for example. A is for what?
Audience.
Audience, okay. And R is for?
Requirements.
So I want us to go through that framework with an example. So with context, it's got to know what the context is, and I want to bring it in perhaps I don't know if you have an example where we can apply this. If I were to ask AI for help, how would I use this?
Okay, so you could, context, it would be, maybe if you want to create maybe a Gen Z marketing strategy, you need to ask it to be an expert, a marketing expert with maybe 10 years experience.
Okay. All right. So you both, I'm trying to think maybe if I were maybe to write a letter to somebody in authority, and I would say I want to write this letter to the Vice Chancellor of the University X. And so I now must give it context. I'm asking this AI model to help me. And the context maybe would be, why am I writing this letter? Okay, I'm asking for funding because I'm about to complete. I'm left with 2 modules, but I owe the university and so I can't register. That's the context.
Okay? That's the context. That's the context. So ask it to be an expert in the context of what you need it for.
Yes. And then the language, I'm telling it what tone and what style to use. So I can say to it, I want it to be a tone that shows that I'm a student from a poor background who has been very committed to her studies, and I am pleading and committed that I'm going to complete by the end of this semester.
Or it can be in a professional, informal, or formal tone. So you could choose which tone you actually wanted to depict and what it should give you.
So I can say to the model, be informal.
Yes. You can say be professional,
or be formal, or be casual if you are writing to a friend. And then I can also prompt it now to the to the example. I can say to them, I can give it an example. How do I give it an example? Do I give it a copy of a letter that's been written before, or what?
You could give it a copy, you could type out the example, included in your instruction formatting. Yeah, so I know that some of the models, like Gemini, are really good with multimodal, so they use both visuals as well as text. So you could give it a picture, you could give it a document. Yeah.
And then I also tell the audience, and I say, this person is going to read this letter is the Vice Chancellor of the university, so that you know what the level is.
Spot on.
And then importantly, you say, I must keep it short. Basically, you said that keep it to 200 words, so you don't give them an instruction that's too long, to an extent that it gets confused.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's very useful. I saw someone had written, Muraja says, thank you, Prof, and thank you to the expert. Please elaborate on the built-in randomness of AI and how does randomness affect AI response accuracy. I don't know if you want to respond to that now. We don't have to do it now. We can do it later. Do it later. Yeah. So I want us to get onto this because the clear framework is very helpful. And people, I mean, sometimes you can even say, I want to write a short story. My style of writing is a style, and you can mention an author. Yeah, and then so they know you are using marketing style of writing, and you know what I mean? Like you can do that because you are prompting the model so that they know what you want to sound like. Okay, so that's helpful. If you don't give them something in writing, the example can be referring them to an author that I want to sound like Malcolm Gladwell. The style of Malcolm Gladwell's writing, the story is about this and that. So you directing it. This is you, by the way, guys, working with AI to help you produce what you want, right? Now, can you share some of the? I mean, you've shared us the tricks that you use, but share me with us an example that, have you ever had a situation, Kanye, where you tweak a prompt and then that transformed some useless output that ChatGPT or an AI model had produced to a much better product? Like maybe, like sometimes you put in, you tell it to do something, it produces, and then you say, but this is not what I wanted, and then you tweak it. Have you had that situation before?
Yes, especially in my work. At the time, my team and I were using AI or these large language models to actually try and analyze customer sentiment from thousands and thousands of customer reviews. But so what we did, with the initial results were very generic and unhelpful. And the original prompt was summarize the main customer complaints in these reviews. For us, I think the breakthrough came when we changed that prompt to analyze these customer reviews as if you're a customer experience specialist with 15 years worth of experience. Identify the top 5 specific pain points, quantify how many customers mentioned each issue, highlight the unexpected patterns, and suggest concrete and tangible solutions for each problem, and include representative customer quotes that illustrate each pain point. I mean, for us, this won us because it transformed vague summaries into actionable insights for business. And this is the power of the clear methodology as well as providing AI with the clarity that it needs.
Okay, it's interesting how you sharpened it. You even say how much experience. That's actually very helpful because you know what young people don't realize is that if you're a professor and you are marking an assignment and they use AI to help them, and it sounds like a professor's essay, you clearly can see they didn't write this.
Definitely.
Yeah. So actually, if you're a student with us in the room, you're going to be clever if you're going to ask AI to help you, generative AI help you with an assignment. Ask it proper questions. So, because otherwise, I mean, I've said with students that I'm mentoring who are doing postgrad, and I read and I say to them, you know, I'm not your supervisor. This is the proposal that you say I must give you feedback on. I can tell you, you can tell me, you and I can agree. You use ChatGPT here. And we can deal with it before your professor finds it out. And students don't realize that it's easy to see that.
No, it is definitely.
Yeah.
So they need to keep it at the tone as how a student would actually write the assignment, as opposed to, trying to mimic a professor.
Exactly. Of course, it sounds like we are helping them how to cheat. But one day we'll talk about how do you use AI as a student to support you rather than to do the work for you. Because remember, last week, Kanye, I said here online that if you get AI to do your job and you present the job that's done by the AI model to your line manager, you are basically telling your line manager that you are not necessary. Because they will see that you've done it, and then maybe next time, then they don't need you. They can just ask the model to do it. So you've got to use it as an assistant to help you get better.
Definitely, to help you augment. We call it AI, human augmentation. To help you augment the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because remember, as a human, you still have the brain.
Yes.
And then the AI is the smart friend, which needs your brain to actually produce quality outputs.
Yes. That's a friend. Of course, we need AI because our brains can't process all the information that we need to use sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, someone asked about the different AI models and so on. We'll get to that later. But are there differences in how we prompt for different AI models?
Yes, definitely there is. So, for instance, with like different models, right? We can say they are like your best friends, but with different personalities as well as capabilities.
Okay.
So, for instance, GPT-4 is really good at handling nuance as well. So I can be more sophisticated when I'm asking ChatGPT for something. I can be more sophisticated in the instructions. So GPT-4 actually loves structure. It loves logic as well as clarity. And then my second friend would be Claude from Anthropic. So this one is very empathetic and cautious. So it excels with long texts. So I can include more examples. So you can go over the 200 that we mentioned. I can include more examples with it and more of a background so that it gives me quality outputs. And then there's Gemini from Google, which we spoke about a little bit earlier. So this one actually excels with mixed media and so with text and images. So it is very strong with multimodal tasks. So I incorporate visual elements when engaging with it. So I can send it pictures as well as include the text I want. And then there's Copilot. Copilot is also best for technical and quite code-specific prompts. So it works best with coding. So when I provide it with clear specifications as well as test cases, it actually gives me very nice technical outputs. So I think the key is to each model is that each has its strengths and limitations. And basically, you need to maintain like a prompt library as well with versions that can be optimized for each model. And also just making note of which models excel at which time. So it's like having your besties all in one room, but then leveraging their strengths.
So this is like having extra human beings.
Yes.
So the idea that like Bonolo was asking, what are some of the AI apps that you as an expert can advise us to use, or are they all the same? Basically, you have answered the question. You actually may need all of them because they've got different strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
So you can't just say I have Copilot, so I don't need a Claude. Yeah. So the advice would be get all of them, learn about all of them, just like you have different friends. One is an engineer, the other one is an architect, the other one is a psychologist, and there's a dentist. And this is what it is. You know who to call when you need what. You don't call your friend who's a lawyer when you have a sore tooth and you don't know what to do with it.
Yes, Mama.
It's a similar kind of thing. This is fascinating because even I have like 3 of them. I won't mention which ones. I have 3 of them. Yeah. And
why can't you mention?
well, you know how young people are. They will say, I have this one because Prof said this one is the one that she's using. You see? So and frankly speaking, I can see when I go to one and not the other. But I hadn't figured, for example, that Copilot is strong when it comes to technical tasks, like coding and whatever. Do you see what I mean? And here you're telling me that even Claude, I hadn't figured out that I can give it longer prompts. Because I always think, well, you give clear prompts. I try to be concise, but clear prompts. And I didn't know that actually Claude will give me a bigger space. So it's like you have these friends and you've got to know them better.
Got to know them, inside out.
Inside out. Because if you know these AI tools and models better, then you can use them better. So can you want me to declare which ones I use? Which one do you use the most?
Which one do you use the most?
You know, I use DeepSeek the most.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I also use Copilot, but I mean, DeepSeek is when I'm on the go, and of course, DeepSeek is not always up to date. You know, doesn't know. Well, when I'm like I'm rushed, then I'll go to that. But I've also noticed that this is like my friend who's a little bit outdated. Sometimes, often, but I can deal with her, you know. But it's like my human friends that I'm like, this one is a little bit in the 1990s, but I mean, you know, fashion-wise, she's in the 70s. But when it comes to certain matters, she's on board. Then I can, you know, focus on, you know, I know I can depend on them. I find the DeepSeek useful, but I still find a lot of loopholes with it. I mean, I used to like ChatGPT, and I guess when DeepSeek came, it sort of kicked ChatGPT out a little bit from my radar.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna share with us which one is your favorite?
Mine is Claude. I'm a Claude girl.
Tell us why you like Claude.
Because I'm very detailed and so the longer instructions actually work for me, and yeah, I think for me, I'm more like of that perfectionist. I want to give you all of it before you can give me, so that you can give me the quality, the right quality. Yes. So with Claude, I can go for longer and longer without it actually, you know, going astray. So that's my favorite one.
That's fantastic. Incidentally, I don't have Claude, but this week I'm getting onto Claude. This week I'm getting onto Claude because I'm onto the others: Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, but I don't have Claude, and I'm getting onto Claude this week so that I can learn. You see, now you've introduced me to a new friend.
I'm glad. A friend who's our friend.
It's gonna be our friend, yes. But what are the common mistakes that beginners make with prompts?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistakes is being too vague and assuming that the AI, or rather what we call our besties, actually know what we want. So people sometimes will write something like, tell me about 5G, and then be disappointed with the generic information. So instead of asking it broad questions, we need to focus on a specific use case, the desired format, and exactly how this information will be used. So you mustn't say things like, write me a short report about customer retention, but rather you need to say, create a 2-page executive brief on reducing churn rates amongst our prepaid mobile customers, focusing on the 3 most cost-effective interventions based on our 2025 customer data.
So, but can you what you have just said to me? I mean, if I'm not in that space professionally, or if I'm not so clued up about my job, I wouldn't be able to ask for a prompt that's so detailed, like an executive summary that says this and that. I mean, everything that you says talks to your expertise as a human about the area. Because then you know what to ask for, and just evidence that AI needs us as humans.
Definitely.
Okay, and I'm hoping that people get that. Naomi Nsebe is asking, our robot friends cannot and should not be a replacement for good old triangulation. Reading AI references strengthens depth of understanding of a subject. Okay, so it's a contribution, and you agree, Kanye, right?
I agree.
Thank
Using AI responsibly.
Yes, thank you very much, Naomi. And then Refula is appreciating the examples that you are giving. People are laughing at our jokes. Tatumkulu. Tatumkulu, he said, you have simplified it so perfectly, so people are getting it, okay? And to be honest with you, I don't think many people understand prompt engineering. And frankly speaking, from what you are explaining, if you don't understand it, you can have this powerful tool, it still won't be able to help you. The old school Gloria says, this is powerful and clear, having your besties in one room and leveraging on each one's strength. So ChatGPT, all these AI models are our besties. They are not our enemies. They are not here to take our jobs. They are here to help us. Do you just search for them and sign up? That's what Zuba is asking. What do? Do how do you find them?
So you just search for them and you sign up. Some of them they've got freemium, so free. So you can either take on the free or you can opt in for the paid versions as well. But it's literally just a Google search and
Or you can go to your app store.
Yes.
Yeah. So search for them on Google or go to your app store. Just write the names. You can even ask Google what are the ChatGPT models available out there. I'm sure Google will tell you, and then you can look for them and then download. And some of them will be free, no premium required. Some of them will require monthly premium. But Kanye, I realized that some of them, if you don't subscribe for monthly, you get an outdated version.
Yes. So you might not be using the latest model, but rather an outdated model that's on the free.
And what are the disadvantages of using an outdated model?
So the information will be outdated.
So it is that friend of mine who's stuck in 1974 when we are in 2025, right?
Yes, that old school friend of yours who just doesn't want to forget the good old days, the golden oldie music.
Yes. Who doesn't even know who's the president of South Africa? They still think it's Jacob Zuma.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's because they're outdated. So it is important to get the latest version. So if you can afford to subscribe, it's much better.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So Zuva, thank you for the question. And Sam Bonolo says they use DeepSeek at school with analyzing literature. And then Refuller says another useful one is perplexity.
Oh, yes.
What's the strength of perplexity? Have you used it?
Yes. I think what I really like about perplexity is that it actually gives you the sources as well. The sources so you ask it a question, it actually gives you the sources together with the links of where it got the information. So that's one thing that I appreciate about it. I think it's good for academics as well.
Okay, that's good. So if you are studying further, perplexity might be your friend because it will give you the links to the source. Then you can go and read the source as well.
Definitely. So it makes factual checking even easier for you because you can click on the link, go and verify that it actually exists. So it does make your life easier as well.
Okay.
From that perspective.
Maninis also is vouching for perplexity. She says, I have recently been intoxicated by perplexity.
Wow.
I have always embraced AI and viewed it as an augment, not outsourcing myself. I love it. So there it is. So you don't want the AI model to replace you. You want it to augment you. That's the power. That's where the power comes from. Okay. I'm trying to see if there are other people on. Given Bata says Kanye is on point. What she said earlier, most efficient way of using prompts is knowing what to ask and how to phrase it. Now, Kanye, how do you deal with the prompts that's failing? I mean, we told them about the clear framework. So people will now be specific about the context, be specific in terms of saying to the model what tone they want or style or language or vocabulary. They'll give it an example if it's necessary. They'll indicate the audience of who's going to receive that. They will indicate the requirements, and they will be short with the length. But if I do that and I get it wrong, how do I change gear and get better?
Okay. So for this, we can follow what I call the troubleshooting process.
Okay.
So it's quite technical, but I'll make it very, very easy.
Okay.
So firstly, it's to diagnose the specific failure. So we need to understand whether the model is hallucinating or missing key information, or whether it's misunderstanding the actual request.
Okay.
And then the second point would be to add some constraints. So we only need to use the information. It only needs to use the information that is explicitly mentioned in the document. And it shouldn't speculate about a particular subject matter. And then thirdly, you would need to break it down. So we need to split complex tasks into smaller steps with immediate outputs. And then we need to provide examples. So we need to tell it, or show it rather, exactly what good output or responses looks like. And then we also need to try the expert approach. And what I mean by that is that we need to tell it that it needs to solve this as if it were a world-class expert in this particular domain. So essentially adding examples, being more specific, and asking the AI to also critique its own answer. So we literally need to ask it, what could, we literally need to say to ourselves, what is it that I could ask differently to get better results?
That's helpful. So that's when you then change gear to help it do better. That's very helpful. I've written the points. Bonolo is asking the question, what is the difference? Okay, no, I think we've asked this question already about the free and the paid version. And we've answered the question about how do you help it better. Khatliso says, you can even ask DeepSeek or Gemini by Google to tell the 10 best AI apps. Okay, so people are still on that. All right, so I like the troubleshooting. You diagnose the failure, so you can't just say it didn't bring out what I need. So you have to say, what happened here? Is it hallucinating? Did it misunderstand me? Or what, so that you know how to give it, because then it will help you in giving it constraints. Because if it went out of the way, then you say, okay, we're just looking in the South African context, for example. That would be an example of a constraint, or you would say, or even just the audience that's going to look could be a constraint.
Yes, and you need to also just explicitly tell it that it mustn't speculate. Especially if you want something specific.
Okay. So it's important to say don't speculate. So it's we are not playing, we are serious. And then you can give it an example.
Yes.
And then I like the fact that this is, again, you are giving it a level when you say solve this as if you were a world expert, or solve this as if you were a first-year student at university.
As if you were a professor.
As if you were a professor, and so on.
Yes.
Okay. But Kanye, prompt engineering is also emerging as a career. I understand that there are people in some companies who are hired just to do prompt engineering. And so, in the past, people thought to get into this space, you've got to know how to code, got to be a computer scientist, and so on. And prompt engineering doesn't seem to need that. And people get hired into these big tech companies, and all they do is prompt engineering. Is that an emerging career that someone can think about?
I think so. As long as they can, they know how to express themselves, they know how to write English in a very clear and a way that clarifies, the need to the AI.
Okay, okay. And by the way, we haven't even asked this question. If I am differently abled, can I ask it that, can I tell it that I'm asking you to do this and I'm struggling with, this is who I am. I'm living with blindness and I'll be presenting this thing to people living with disabilities, these kinds of disabilities. It will also take that into consideration, right?
Yes, it will, definitely.
Okay. All right. Do you think prompt engineering will still exist in 5 years? I mean, or will AI outgrow this? I mean, will generative AI or predictive AI become so expert that it doesn't need to be prompted anymore? Is it possible at all?
Definitely. So I think prompt engineering, as we know it today, will essentially evolve, but it won't disappear.
Okay.
So the fundamental skill of effectively communicating with the AI tools will definitely remain valuable, but the form of it will essentially change. So we will move from typing to voice prompts, which we've actually started doing. There'll be visual drag and drops, multimodal cues as well, where you can use images, text, a combination of voice as well. And I think we're already seeing the emergence as well of AI agents that can actually interpret vague instructions better. So I think that 5 years will likely be focusing less on crafting perfect prompts and more on actually orchestrating multiple AI systems to work together on complex tasks.
Okay, that's interesting because I was wondering whether, I thought maybe as AI become generative AI and predictive AI get better, then we don't need to prompt it anymore. But it's interesting that you say it will evolve. Which models can I already use voice? Do you know?
ChatGPT has.
ChatGPT, you can. Okay. I guess also that's for people living with disabilities.
Yes.
That's also very useful. And what is your prediction when it comes to the future of human and AI collaboration? I mean, I keep saying we will always need humans. I mean, I cannot see how machines can replace us completely, as some people think they will. But what's your prediction in terms of this collaboration between machine and human?
I totally agree with you, Mama. So I see us moving towards what my senior leader, Charlotte, I'm not sure if she's online, but I hope she is.
Yes.
What she calls as collaborative intelligence, where humans and AI systems each contribute to their unique strengths.
Okay.
So AIs will handle pattern recognition, they'll handle the data analysis and the generic options, while we as humans provide the creativity, the ethical judgment, and emotional intelligence. So I think we will definitely shift from tool users and more towards being collaborators, where humans will bring context, judgment, as well as the emotion, while the AI itself will bring the speed, the scale, as well as the pattern matching. And together, this is what we will call superhuman problem-solving superpower.
Aha, that's very useful. Collaborative intelligence, what we can bring that the machine can never bring, and what the machine brings that we can never bring.
We can bring,
yeah,
definitely. So leveraging the strengths from each other.
That's awesome. That gives me hope. Let me see the questions. Someone says, I find that ChatGPT does retain information. Is it because I go back to the same chats to chat for continuation? Is that the reason why it retains the information?
So there are settings on ChatGPT where you can also set the memory so that it doesn't store any of your chat information so that they don't use that for training purposes.
Okay.
But definitely, if you do continue with the chat, as long as you haven't reached the context window in such a way that it starts hallucinating, then it will continue from where it left off. So it does have the memory to pick up from what it the last conversation, and then it just continues with it.
That's interesting, because I thought it gives me time. Like when I talk about with my AI model about something, and then I leave it there, I come back after 2 hours and I continue, it still remembers what we were talking about. But when I come back 24 hours later, that is completely wiped out. And it's like when I talk about with it, it's a new conversation. And I wasn't aware as to whether that's my settings or that's how it operates. I thought that's how it operates. You are saying that's probably in the settings.
Yes. So like ChatGPT, I know it's very good at like retaining the context of what was spoken, but other models would, delete the conversation after a while. And in some models is that like they have something that we call a context window. So they'll give you like maybe 4,000 characters that you type. And once you've reached that 4,000, it actually forgets everything that you said. It starts on a clean slate.
Okay. That's helpful. Kanye, I want us in the next 5 minutes sort of to provide wisdom to people in in any professional space that you choose. There's someone who's asked about students, if you want to attend to that, because I actually think, though, we must have a session on AI in education, how students can draw on it, because I think it's not that simple. Whereas Bushona is asking, how can we as students use AI effectively? Finding the balance can be quite difficult as a university student. I want us to pack that a little bit, because I think it needs more, because as a student, you are assessed, you are whatever, and I want to talk about that at another time. But there are people who are using AI in their professional fields, in their places of work, in their startups, in their businesses, and so on. And I just want us to pause. You've given us a lot of wisdom in terms of the framework, how to manage our friends. I've learned something new, that I don't have to choose one or two. I can have all of them, and I can make them my besties, all these AI models, and get to know them better. So that I can use them better. Okay? Frankly speaking, that one I didn't know. I thought I've got to choose one or two. But now I know. And you've also given us a good idea of the strengths of each one of them. And then how to troubleshoot if it doesn't give us what it wants. If you were to give professionals out there how they can combine, and you can choose whichever or go general, I really don't mind. How can they combine their capacity as professionals with the strength of AI models that are there to perform better, to deliver better, to serve better?
I think, Mama, the AI gives us a platform to actually be in our superpower element. So I think that whether you are a creator, a student, you still need to use what God has given you, which is your talent, your brain. But then to take it to the next level and actually give you something, a concrete output, this is where you need to augment it with AI. So don't let the AI do the thinking for you, but rather do the thinking and let it help you in terms of elevating you and taking you to the next level, giving you those superpowers that we spoke about earlier.
That's a good point to end on. In fact, it works for students as well, actually, not just for people who are working. But thank you so much, Kanye. It's been very useful. I think the parting shot is don't let AI do the thinking for you.
Definitely.
We still need your thinking so that you an AI can produce, can have the superpower to deliver better, actually.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Kanye, for joining me. And thank you, everyone, for joining me. I saw all of your comments, Bukhari, Gaino, everybody on YouTube, as well as on Instagram. Someone is asking, how secure is my information? For example, I'm promoting a big innovation. Is my information safe? Kanye, is it safe? If I'm talking to an AI model about an innovation that I'm working on, is my information safe?
I would say don't give it the full details so that you still contain your IP, because remember, they still use the information for retraining purposes. So I think you need to use it, but also use it very responsibly, and ask yourself if you would be comfortable sharing that with another human bestie, essentially.
Okay. That's so basically, as we were saying, you've got to treat these AI models as other human beings that are with you. So as much as you protect your IP when you're talking to other human beings, protect it when you're talking to these AI models, because they might end up sharing it with other people or making it available, at a point. You'll never know. So protect your IP. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you again next week. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Fab Academic Unfiltered. Tell the world that we are giving a good message about AI. It is not here to take anything from you. It is here to make us better and stronger and deliver better. So embrace it and learn more about it. And if you want to pivot, come join us every Sunday as we talk about these issues, or catch up on the previous sessions on Fab Academic Unfiltered. Continue to click notifications so that you can get a message when a new episode drops. We don't only talk AI, we talk a variety of issues. There's different streams on my YouTube channel. Kanye, thank you so much. Have a good week. I really, really appreciate your time and information. All the best with the PhD, okay?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right, guys, we'll save this. You'll get it recorded. Bye-bye on Instagram, and bye-bye everyone on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. See you again next week.